All right. So, for those of you that don't know me or are new here, I'm Nancy from Nancy Inspired. I have a gift that I call soul telepathy. I call it that because I'm able to hear what your own sort of deeper part, your own soul is trying to tell you for your highest and best good, your evolution. I don't do divination. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future. I can just tell you sort of what's going on right now. The first part of my live is collective messaging. What is the messaging for everybody? The second part of my live, I'll take individual names. Don't put your name in yet because you will get lost in the time. I'll let you know when it's time to put your name in, and I write people's names down in the order that they come in. If I don't get to you because I run out of time, which I often do, if you come back the following week and let me know, then I keep a list. I will put you at the top. So that's how that works. And so let's get started. Hello, Sachi. Hello, Julie. Welcome. Aw, we've missed you. I've missed you guys. 2 weeks away. It was a long time without my family. I mean, I've had some really wonderful time. I'm trying to remember what was the first week I was away for, and then the second week it was camping, but I can't remember what the first week was. Off of the top of my head, something. All right. Oh, I remember. I was supposed to be at a meditation retreat, and then I had to cancel the retreat, unfortunately. But it was too late to do a live. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was supposed to do a weekend Vipassana silent meditation retreat, but then it just circumstances in my family didn't allow that to happen, so I had to withdraw myself, which I was a little disappointed, but I believe in divine timing. It wasn't the time to do that. What's interesting is that when I did that same weekend meditation, this one is kind of a Buddhist tradition. That was the weekend that I had the dream that I received this gift. So I had done a Vipassana weekend retreat meditation, and it was on the last night of the retreat that I was given this gift in a dream. So I was kind of excited to do it again, but it didn't work out, and I figure it just wasn't time, right? So when it's time, it will happen. All right, let me just hear what I hear. What is the message? Yeah. All right. So basically, what I was just telling you is the first bit of messaging. So, what it was, right away, the words were divine timing. And I say this a lot, divine timing. Now, part of it is to make myself feel better when things aren't going the way I want them to go, or I feel like I've missed something or whatever. I make myself feel better by saying divine timing. However, what I'm hearing is that is the messaging, that there is a time and a place for everything. And sometimes we have an agenda and we're saying, I need this now, and I want this now, and this is the goal that I have, and I want to achieve it now, and it's not happening. And we're manifesting, and we're working, and we're putting energy toward it, and it's still not happening. And we're like, why not? And it's because of divine timing. It's not the right time. It's either not the right people, it's not the right variables. Maybe there's something you haven't quite learned yet. Maybe there is something that in the next 6 months is exactly what you need in order to make the next steps more successful. And so yes, always striving and always working towards your goals, but when something doesn't work out, rather than allowing yourself to be miserable about it, and I was upset, and I was kind of angry, if I'm really honest, because I felt that it didn't necessarily have to happen that way, but I really do feel that it was divine timing. Interesting, I'm hearing to tell you a story, but this one isn't one that happened yet. This is one that's going to happen. So I know I've shared with you, I'm really hoping to retire from my education job. For those of you that don't know, I am an assistant principal at a school. I've been in education for 32 years. I'm really hoping to officially retire in March this year. I'll stay on till June, and then I'll have to work part-time or whatever, something to supplement. But I'm really excited to jump in and do more of my Nancy Inspired work, this work. The other day I was reflecting, and this is the part that I am supposed to tell you about. The other day I was reflecting on some of the goals that I had as a child. As a child, I wanted to run a retreat center. I called it my building. And at the time, because at the time retreat centers and things like that didn't exist, I called it a spa, but in my mind, it was a place where people came and did art, did movement, did dance, did different things to heal themselves. And I used to put my babysitting money into this building fund and stuff. And I was reflecting that, maybe in my retirement, I might be able to create that. And I started thinking, like, did I miss my chance? Like, was I supposed to do it before? And, because that was my childhood dream, did I spend all this time in education and I should have been doing that? And I right away heard in my head that I needed the skills and the learning and everything for in order to be able to be successful, I needed to have the skills that I have now because of being in leadership, because of being in education, and that I might not have been successful before this. And that was what I heard in my head, and that's what I'm hearing to share with you right now as an example, in that there is divine timing to everything. We come here with a place and a purpose, and we also have free will, so there's opportunities given that maybe we don't take at different times, but when we do take it is exactly the right time. So trusting in divine timing, and that when things don't quite work out, there's a reason they don't quite work out at that time. And I'm also hearing that we need to regularly, when we are looking for spiritual guidance, okay, this is the next bit of messaging. When we're looking for spiritual guidance, whether it's like doing a meditation to talk to our guides, or pulling a card for ourselves, or that kind of thing, we always need to phrase it at this moment in time. And you'll hear, even when I did maybe that's why I was supposed to do a little ritual with you, because I say that a lot of times, at this moment in time. And it's because at this moment in time, we have a different ability. We might be able to, there's sometimes, what I'm hearing is sometimes you have the ability to connect in a super deep, big way, those moments where you feel out of body experience, it's like connecting to the divine, just huge. Sometimes you're able to have that capacity, and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you don't have that capacity. So at this moment in time, so I always ask for my intuition be raised to the highest level at this moment in time. And what it might look like now might be different than another time. So I'm hearing that we need to be aware that there are so many factors. And that what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of us here that are energy workers, spiritual healers, energy healers. Well, obviously we're all on a meditation app, so it's meditators. And that sometimes we get frustrated, I've reached this height at this point, and now I can't even, control my monkey mind for 30 seconds. At this moment in time, there are always a lot of variables. There's things going on. And so we ask to achieve our best, our highest that we can allow at this moment in time. I'm hearing to add that that's not just in spiritual practice, but it's also in day-to-day. We get really hard on ourselves, is what I'm hearing. We get really hard on ourselves. We beat ourselves up if we don't do everything just the way we want to do it, or hold to doing it. Or I just heard when we make mistakes. So everybody makes mistakes. Part of our human condition is that we make mistakes. We're learning things all the time. And what I'm hearing is everything is at this moment in time. So when you look back on your mistakes, you're like, oh, I should have done this, or I should have said this, or I should have, set this boundary, or I should have whatever. At that moment in time, you were doing your best. Maybe you didn't have the energy to put up a fight. Maybe you didn't have the energy to uphold a boundary. Maybe you weren't really even sure your boundary was being crossed until later. Maybe, there was some learning that needed to happen there. And so even when we make mistakes, even when we do something that we look back on and go, oh, I wish I would have done that differently, right? At that moment in time, that's what was the best thing to do. And so I'm hearing there's a few of us here that are carrying some guilt, some shame. I right away, recalled my own guilt and shame, things that I'm like, oh, that wasn't my proudest moment. At that moment in time, it was what seemed like the best thing to do. It seemed like the right thing to do for whatever reason. Now, was it? In my situation, no, it probably wasn't the best thing to do. But at the time, it made sense. And so nobody wakes up and says, oh, I'm going to totally mess up my relationship today, or I'm going to totally mess up my kids today, or I'm going to mess up at my job. Nobody does that. But when things happen and we make mistakes and we make choices, it is at this moment in time that we are working at whatever capacity we are. So using the phrase at that moment in time or at this moment in time, it's not as an excuse. It's as a, the word I heard was reimagining. It allows us to reimagine, all the variables that are at play. It allows us to reimagine the outcome. It allows us to reimagine how we connect with the outcomes, the decisions, and the things that we did. So when we phrase things as at this moment in time or at that moment in time, it allows us to reframe and reimagine. I love that word, reimagine. Okay. All right. The reason why they're using the word reimagine is because everything is within our creation, is what I'm hearing. And so we allow ourselves to internalize any guilt and shame or things like that based on the stuff that we've done. We allow ourselves to take ownership over different things. Some things aren't for us to take ownership over, but we do anyway. By using the word reimagining, it's allowing us to gain the perspective that we are actually the creators of our story. So even when things come down the pipe that are not happy things we don't enjoy, we have the ability to reimagine our role in it. We have the ability to reimagine what the outcome is. We have the ability to reimagine our understanding of our resources at the time, the energy, the understanding, the insight, and whatever. So we have the opportunity to reimagine and look at it from a different perspective in a different way. I really like that word, reimagine. It really changes the ownership of the situation rather than it being something that I'm dealing with and something that is happening to me. Reimagining gives us a sense of power. It gives us a sense of we have some control over this. We can reimagine the outcome. We can reimagine the forgiveness. We can reimagine the learning. We can, reimagine our role in everything. I'm going to have to internalize that. I like that, reimagining. I'm just going to check the chat here. Alicia, plant the seed and let it be. I say don't focus too much energy into it because sometimes this can turn into resistance. Just know you've planted the seed and it is in divine co-creation with the universe. Your job is just to keep your vibrations at the level to match what you can or what you want so you can time-light shift into it's all about holding the consciousness to obtain it. Absolutely. I actually heard it described really well. I actually just got imaging. I completely forgot about this. Interesting. So I used to do tea leaf readings for a magazine, and I do the leaves like the month before and submit it. And one of them was this really cool image of this little character with kind of like this little pointy hat, like blowing kisses, like, and it fluttering up into the wind. I was going to share something else, but then this image was just given to me. I completely forgot about this. And the messaging in that was like, choose your manifesting, choose when you're trying to manifest or plant the seeds into what you want. It's like blowing a kiss into the wind. It's, and you let it go and you let that kiss fly where it needs to go, whether it's directed at someone or just up. And so it's like, it's releasing it with love, and that's why it was blowing a kiss, because it was releasing it with love and gratitude, like you do when you're blowing a kiss to someone, sending you a kiss. It's releasing it with that love and gratitude, and the little images were like floating up. I'll have to find. I saved that picture. I'm putting some of these like little wisdom nuggets that I got from tea leaves into a book at some point. one day, when I'm retired, I'll finish writing it. But that I just was reminded of that. I can't remember what I was going to tell you on that because I was given that image instead. But the point is that you let it go and release it with love, release it with gratitude. And you don't have to chase after it. You don't have to keep reminding. It's just release it with love. Alicia says, so true, Nancy, because our consciousness doesn't know the difference between what really happened or what we actually make up and visualize in our subconscious. So it's all up to you. And you can change any situation to have any outcome. I love that. And that's like that word reimagining that came to me. I love that. It really strikes that chord of it's up to us to create. I mean, we can't change certain situations, certain variables that are around us. I can't control, my daughter's health, for example. But I can control how I internalize it. I can control how I manage my emotions around it. I can control, the boundaries I set with it and all that stuff. So I can reimagine the whole situation. I can't necessarily take away certain parts of it, but I can reimagine the whole situation to make it more manageable. Amanda, having a hard time at my new job, like a reading. Okay, for the people asking for readings, absolutely, Amanda, I will put you on the list. Same with, I think Miss Sumi asked. Just wait to put your name in until I usually start that at about 45 minutes because it'll get lost in the chat, and I don't want to lose you. So at about 45 minutes, I will tell people to start putting their names in, and then you can put your name in, and then I can add it. All right, let me take a sip of water and hear what else I hear for collective wisdom. Okay. We've had this kind of messaging before. I really love it. So, what I'm hearing is just because you can't necessarily prove something or it isn't the popular belief does not mean it's not real. And then I heard the words doesn't matter. And so this is what this is about. Okay. I was asking, like, is there a specific example I'm supposed to give? And then I was just given this one. So my grandmother passed away a long time ago now. And I had a really close connection with my grandmother. And when she had passed away, I was actually camping. I was on a hike with my boyfriend at the time. I think I was in my early 20s, like maybe 21, 22, maybe. No, I've been 21. Anyway, I was disappointed because I thought that she would somehow tell me that she was going. And I was disappointed that I didn't know. When I got back from camping, my parents let me know that she had passed, and I was kind of upset that I didn't know, because we did have this, bit of a psychic bond, a connection together. She was a fortune teller in Siberia at one point, and I'm pretty sure that all of my gifts came down through her. But I was really upset that I didn't know that she had passed. And then about 2 weeks later, I received a letter from a friend of mine who lived in another province, another place, because that was days before cell phones, email, and all that kind of stuff. So I received a handwritten letter. And in the letter, I'm totally dating myself as I'm saying that, I got, in this handwritten letter, it said, what were you doing on May 24th between 3 and 4 in the afternoon? Because I felt like you were floating right above me and you just needed some reassurance. I tried to give you a mental hug and I hope everything's okay. And then the next line was, how is your grandmother doing? Because he knew my grandmother was ill. Well, my grandmother died at 3:30 on May 24th. And so I believe that that was my grandmother seeing him, knowing, and we weren't even the greatest of friends, but he was quite a spiritual person. So maybe for some reason she knew he would get me the message. I believe that that was my grandmother giving me the message somehow that she was okay and that, that was her goodbye. Now, where this goes back to this divine messaging that we're getting right now is, does it matter if that was true or not? Does it actually matter that I can't prove it was my grandmother? Does it actually matter that I don't have, photographic evidence or something like that? It doesn't matter. If it gives me that connection and some peace and some solace, then it doesn't matter whether we can see it, prove it, touch it, feel it, If it's giving you hope and peace and positivity, it doesn't matter. So what I'm hearing, okay, so we as people get a little too caught up in being right, that our way is the right way, and this school of thought is the right school of thought, and everyone else is wrong. And there are certain truths. This is what I'm hearing. There are certain truths. Love is a truth, is what I'm hearing. And anything that is surrounded in love, anything that is surrounded in gratitude and love, is truth. Everything else, if it is not hurting anyone else, if it is not hurting you in any way, does it really matter? If I believe that when I stir my tea in the morning and I set an intention for the day, if I believe that I am putting that intention into action and I drink my tea and that's internalizing that intention, does it matter if that's not true? If it's helping me stay focused on my intentions, and if it's helping me feel like I'm, internalizing my intentions, does it matter if stirring my teacup does or doesn't do anything? It doesn't. If you're rooted in love, and if you're rooted in connection, in those higher vibrational things, if what you are believing, doing, acting is rooted in love and those higher vibrational things, does it matter that it's called one thing by one person and other one by someone else, right? And so we need to be less concerned about being right and more concerned about being loving. And I'm hearing that very loudly, that it's about what we can do to be truly loving. And by being truly loving, it's not loving to only certain groups of people. It's loving to everyone. It's loving to the earth and to each other. And if it's rooted in that place of love, then it is, it doesn't matter if the rituals, the practices are right. And yeah, that's what sorry, I just kind of caught a little snippet of words there. Okay. What I heard is you forget everything anyway. That, and actually what I was given, you forget everything anyway, and it's all just energy anyway. So all the extra things are just things, and it's the energy that's the energy about it, and we forget everything anyway once we go back into that energetic state. Give me 1 second, please.
Where's my helmet?
I think it's on the table. It is. I think it's on the table. Honey, I'm working right now. You need to go. You're with Glenn right now. Can you close the door again, please?
Fine.
Thank you. And your helmet's on the table in the kitchen, I believe.
You got things.
I do. Thank you. I apologize for that, my friends. Lost my train of thought. Forgot what I was saying. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask. Can you 1 second, please? Aurora, I need you to go now, please. No, when I'm done. Okay, Nana's working right now.
Can I ask if Alex wants?
I need you to go now, please. Can you go back to Glenn? You're with Glenn right now. Okay, thanks, honey. I apologize. I am sorry. Oh, we forget anyway. Right. Okay, I was just given this story. Sorry, I got distracted. Get everything out. I'm just asking for the story again. Oh, okay, got it. All right, sorry. So the story that I am being given to tell you, sorry, Binksy, you're going to go down too, is when I was teaching kindergarten, I had a really rough day and things did not go well. If you've ever taught kindergarten or worked with little people like that, you have to have everything planned right down to the minute, because if it's not, chaos can happen really quickly. And there was one day early in my career that chaos happened. It was like it did not go well, and it was a learning day for sure. And I was feeling upset about it, and I was speaking to a senior kindergarten teacher, and what she said was, "You know what? They're 4 and 5 years old. How much do you remember of your day-to-day existence when you were 4 and 5?" And I was like, "Not much." She's like, "You can give yourself solace in that. The only thing they're going to remember is whether their kindergarten teacher actually cared about them or not, and if they even remember their kindergarten teacher. So if it was a bad day, don't worry about it. They're going to forget about it anyway." And I was just given that story to tell you as a metaphor. You know, if we get caught up on, oh, I didn't pray the right way, or I didn't follow the rules the right way, or I didn't stir my tea in the right direction, or I didn't, none of that stuff really matters. That stuff is all, what I'm hearing right now is that stuff is all in place so that we can connect. It's a way, it's like a ladder, is what I just saw. It's like a ladder. It's like rungs in a ladder. If we follow this path, if we follow these teachings, if we follow these rituals, if we follow this, it's a ladder in order to connect to divine consciousness, to allow us to, what I'm hearing is recognize our own divinity, is the words that I just heard. Those are all ladders. They're all steps to allow us to do it. But there's no true right and wrong. I'm given another story to relate to you. So this was, well, I don't know, I was probably like 25, 26 years old, and I was teaching grade 4 social studies at the time. And the textbooks at the time, and now in Canada, we've done a lot with trying to recognize history a little more accurately, because history is always written by the victors, in terms of what was done to our Indigenous populations, and through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action. But at the time, that didn't exist. And when I was looking at the social studies curriculum, it was like they kind of mentioned the Indigenous people, and that went right into the pioneers and the fur trade and whatnot. And I thought to myself, the Indigenous people were here long, long, long before the pioneers in the fur trade. There should be more information, but I didn't know anything. That day, in my mailbox, there was an invitation to join a sweat lodge ceremony at this place called Calmaker Nechi Center. And so I signed up and I went. And in that, this is the important part. That was the backstory. I think okay, so what I just heard is that part of the story was important too, because it just shows that the magic is at work all the time, and that the steps are in place all the time, different steps. But anyways, I got to this, and the elder was teaching us, and he was talking about the medicine wheel, 4 directions, and he was saying how the Great Spirit and infinite wisdom, divine source and infinite wisdom knew that one teacher would not be understood by all people, and so sent different teachers, sent Jesus, Buddha, Allah, like all different spiritual teachers, but they all basically came with the same message, which was to love one another and care for the earth. And so when I was taught that, it really resonated, because it made me go, okay, my friend who's Muslim is just as right as my friend who is Catholic, and my friend, and it made me recognize that it doesn't have to be a one set truth as long as it's rooted in love. And that's what I'm hearing. So don't worry about doing it wrong. Don't worry, as long as your intention is full of love and from the right place. And that's, I just heard that's also why I was asked to share the ritual with you, is because in it, when I'm asking for permission to do this work, I ask, are my intentions pure and from the light? So that I'm doing this for the right reasons. I'm doing this to help elevate human consciousness. I'm doing this to help people. And so as long as your intentions are pure and from the light, as long as your intentions are rooted in love, then the little steps, if you forget the words or if you, do the wrong thing or whatever, is not what's important. It's that intention. All right. And Julie said, there is no true right or wrong way, only opinions. Absolutely. It doesn't matter as long as you feel love and peace and calm. Exactly. Exactly. I typed the message before I saw the message from Alicia. Whoops, I'm grateful that you have an amazing husband who's also a healer. Oh, I didn't hear that. What's going on? Melinda, I'm currently in my own healing business with my beautiful husband who's a new healer who's finally given me the confidence to align with all you beautiful people here and believe in myself as I do one-on-ones. Who knows where it leads. Wonderful. Alicia, I'm so glad. And I'm glad that you felt confident to share what you do here. Because this is a safe space to do that. I mean, I don't want it to turn into like people feeling bombarded with advertising, but when it's relevant, if there's something that you do, and this is for everybody, if it's relevant, it's come up in conversation, you're probably here for a reason, and what you do is here for a reason. And so if it comes up naturally in conversation and it's like, hey, I do this kind of work, I don't mind if you share it. That's something that I think is wonderful. Alicia's the mom.com magic, fabulous. I'll have to connect with you, Alicia, for sure. I feel like I missed some other chat stuff. Wonderful. Awesome. And full moon. Okay. Exhausted. The eclipse. Yes, Liz. Full moon and solar activity. There's a lot going on. Although I'm hearing there's some extra things for you going on, Liz, is something that I'm hearing over and above this. Okay, you had asked her about when she was going to start teaching here. Alicia, do you have the profile here? Actually, why don't I just open it up right now? Everybody that's here right now that has a profile on Insight Timer, that is an Insight Timer teacher, if you just want to say, hey, I'm a teacher here, and then anybody that's here can go and check you out because there's a reason why you're here. And, I think, why not? Why not share? Share the platform, share the wealth. It's absolutely, we're all here as community anyway. Even Banks. All right. Just going to ask, is there other messaging that needs to happen? Okay. So right away I heard we are community, we are family. So I had recently started going to a church, which is, I'm going to call it loosely a church. It's more a community. It's called SSUC, United in Community. Spiritual Seekers United in Community. And they do their talks. Sometimes it comes from all different spiritual texts or non-spiritual texts, secular texts. But today was all about family and community and the importance of community. So when I was asked, is there any other messaging? I was right away brought to one of the songs they were saying, which was all about family and community. I just finished saying, hey, if you have a profile here, feel free to share it. This is all part of community. And so I'm hearing that that's really important. Find your community. Find your people, the people that make you feel at home. And if it's one person, great. If it's an online community, great. If it's like multiple people and you're, volunteering all over the place, great. It can look like anything. It doesn't have to look like anything. But find your community. Find your community and have the confidence to share in your community is what I just heard. Have the confidence to shine your light in your community. Have the confidence to share what you do, what you know in your community. We are family. Oddly, the good song popped in my head. Another, we are family. It's a great song. And there was a couple songs that were sung today that were just beautiful. It was all about community. So that's where we are going with that. I'm gonna let Banks you down here. Banks, you go find your community of cats that wreck plants. Actually, Banks never gets into trouble. It's the other two that do all the time. All right. Anything else? No. Okay. So I'm going to